my friends and people I follow have just returned from Copenhagen Fashion Week. Me? I'm going to Tesco, maybe Costco if I grow some massive balls. I have to practice my driving because I got in a car on Sunday and made it 5 minutes down the road and started crying. So we've got to do a little bit of driving every day. I need to build up my confidence. This isn't a when, it's a must. So we'll do something nice, which is go shopping. My favourites video last week did super well, and someone asked me how I do my makeup. So I'm just gonna show you what my everyday makeup looks like at the moment. All the products are in my little So-So swim bag. I'll just talk you through it. I recently got my brows waxed. My nails are not too grown out quite yet. Probably got another week in them. I have so much nail inspiration saved at the moment. And I've booked in with a lady that my friend Eve recommended called Malika. She looks really cool. I'm going to Holloway Road, which is a very big deal. If you don't know, I used to live just off Holloway Road, and that's quite far away from where I live now. That's in North London and I'm now east. Maybe I'll even drive there. It just feels counterintuitive to me to drive in London because I can just get the tube. But these small journeys in places that I know are the way forward. They will make me more confident. I saw my friend Hannah recently and her skin looked really, really good. And I asked her what she was wearing and she said she had this Unreal Skin Sheer Glow Tint. This is a Charlotte Tilbury foundation stick. She had it on with a lot of powder over the top. I'll be honest, I really like Charlotte Tilbury products, but their base products can be a little metallic as an undertone, which is really nice if you want that supermodel glow, but I think looks quite strange day to day. But Hannah made me question that, and since then I've been adding a little bit of this as a base layer before adding a slightly heavier top layer. My skin prep is actually a little drier today than it would be usually. I went for a Alpha H moisturizer which has SPF in it and it's quite tacky, so I'm not entirely sure how it will sit on my face with my makeup. I'm really hoping it doesn't pill. I don't think it will. I'd be surprised. I also cleaned my makeup brushes yesterday. This is just a Space NK one, 102. It's got a nice flat head. I don't really have a summer foundation. I've never been this tanned in my life. So I'm just going to use the number 7 Protect and Perfect Intense Advanced All-in-One Foundation. Oh my God, so many words. But I really like this one because I think it's basically a light olive colour, which I think maybe I am. Or maybe light olive products work better on me because they have more green in them, which counteracts the redness across my face. You can't really see it here today, but I tend to get a lot of redness. It was really bad in my mid-20s. I forgot to hold things up. So it's a little light for me, but that's fine. I do the Katie Jane Hughes method now where I put a bit on my hand. I'm really sorry, I've explained this a million times in the vlogs. I put a bit on my hand and I buff it into the brush so the brush has loads in it, basically. As you can see, this is a bit pink for me. Once it's thoroughly in the bristles, I will then start applying to my face. I should probably be doing it this way, honestly. Oh yeah, I was talking about nails. The nails I have saved they're quite simple actually, but they're very interesting. Those kind of aura style nails are big on my Pinterest board at the moment, or some kind of simple designs that are really punchy. My friend who I was talking about, Eve, got these chrome silver 777s and a 4-leaf clover on hers, and they just looked amazing. So I've got stuff like that saved. So I tend to use a more full coverage foundation, even though this says it's a serum, or it used to be marketed as a serum foundation. It's definitely medium coverage because usually my skincare is very moist and very glowy. For anything to stay on, I need a thicker foundation. And then I just blend it out and add light layers. My skin eats makeup. When you have combination skin, you're always dancing between huge dry patches and then patches with no makeup on at all because your skin has just eaten it all up. I really like a sheer base. I'm a Glossier girl through and through. For my skin type, you do actually have to add a bit more coverage to achieve that same result, or the appearance of that same result. Wow, my skin looks amazing on camera. I'm still at the end of reintroducing retinol, so I have a few spots. I got this really nice one right between my lips and my nose the other day, and I've actually started getting neck spots in my adulthood, which is really nice. Love that for me. That's just the foundation done. As you can see, it is still pretty sheer. Like, there's really not much there. I've actually loved watching my friends at Copenhagen Fashion Week. It just looks incredible. Like, it looks like such a chill fashion week and just so much fun. And I've heard them talk about it as well, and it just sounds like thrilling. I love the Danish fashion houses as well, obviously. Who isn't a Ganni girl? But also I've been following a Skull Studio recently. Very, very nice. Cecily Barnes, obviously. I saw that they had their 10-year anniversary kind of celebration and that some of the like designs were evoking fireworks. Oh, Rotate did really nice stuff this time around. They did a gorgeous look with some lace shorts and a trench coat. It's for spring summer 26. And they also teased that they're partnering with, I think, Chimmy for a sunglasses collection, which is very exciting. I own a pair of their glasses, which I still haven't had the lenses changed over to my actual prescription. This is where we get a bit creative because sometimes blush and bronze look really good on me and sometimes they look really weird and just don't sit right. But I've cleaned my brushes, so hopefully they're all good. This is Rhode's Pocket Blush in Freckle. I'm so glad Rhode brought out a peachy colour. I, generally speaking, opt towards a much more peach rather than a pink base. As you can see on my skin tone, I have a really warm undertone. I am literally just like really going for it in the brush. So I tend to apply my blushes and my bronzers on this outer part of my face if I bring it too far in. Sometimes I can get away with it and look really nice and sun-kissed, especially if I'm on holiday. But a lot of the time, I just look insane. These Rhode blushes last forever as well. I just bought their Glazing Milk and one of their liners to try. This is probably wrong, but I'll just do the twisting on my face. If there's any excess, I will squidge this brush, which is definitely not being used for its correct purpose, and just kind of rub it across the edges of my nose. Not that it's very helpful to share your insecurities on the internet, because either people will adopt them for themselves or they will become aware of them on you. Both options equally shit. But I am a little insecure about the width of my nose. Don't take that on for yourself. Like, that's a crazy, crazy insecurity. So I like to make sure that I put any colour that I'm applying to my face across the whole nose, not just the top area, because I feel like if I just like highlight the top, it will make my nose look even thinner. Make it make sense. I'm so glad I discovered this. This is the Chantecaille Radiance Gel Bronzer. So it is very literally, as they say, a gel bronzer. It could do with being slightly lighter for me. I've always heard about how good Chantecaille is, and they're correct. The rumours are true. I'm going to do the same thing with the same brush that I did with the blush. Just absolutely get it in. This product really does only look good, very blended out. And I apply this like much wider and on a much greater surface area than I did my blush. I just like it to look like I didn't make too much of an effort when obviously I made so much effort. With the bronzing, I just want it to look like the sun just caught me. Oh goodness, I'm so surprised. I hate that my little baby hairs get caught in my brush. I used to have the smoothest, nicest hair. And then I used a stupid brush that destroyed and created so much frizz. It would damage my hair when I used it as a wet brush. And so now I have all of this frizz, and actually, I'll take it down. Maybe you can see it. And in tandem, I was actually using a pair of glasses that were snapping the front of my hair. So you might be able to see that's now like grown out to here. But this one is so much longer. And as I said, I always do my forehead a little bit, even though you can rarely see it when my hair's down, and take it down the sides of my face and my neck. Do I think it makes any difference? I don't know. At the moment for brows, I'm just using the Merit Beauty Volumizing Pomade in brown, and I literally just brush them through. Couldn't be more simple. If you do your makeup and it doesn't look like mine, that is because makeup looks different on camera than it does in real life. It looks much smoother or much worse if you get really, really close. I went to Fashion Week once and I actually vlogged it. I've been to one show at one London Fashion Week, but the Fashion Week that I'm talking about that I feel like I really experienced was Paris Fashion Week. I think it was fall winter 2019. I was one of the first creators to be invited by Dior, and it's worth saying I knew nothing about luxury fashion. I bought everything secondhand or from Zara. I was so naive, and boy was it an experience. Before I get into it, I'm going to add some powder. Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish, exceptional. And this is a Real Techniques brush that I think came as part of a pack. It's so good. But yeah, this is just the color of the powder. And this for me is an essential step if I have a more glowy base. I will powder down my under eye area, my lid area. I'll pop some on my chin. And then if I'm really worried about glow, I'll put some down the sides of my nose and just across this middle bit. I can actually tell this story now because it's so far in the past. I was going to Fashion Week for the first time. I had no idea what to expect. And my management at the time had just hired someone new who was a day-to-day manager. So you kind of have your talent managers who are negotiating all the deals and are very experienced, and then kind of working for them and training up. You have like a day-to-day or campaigns manager or assistant manager. They have various different names. Their role is incredibly practical and thinking like 3 steps ahead, especially of the creator, but also of the manager. This is a random beauty pie mini that I have. It is the Wonder Colour Cream Shadow Stick in Cool Mink. I apply this to the lower half of my eyelid and then I just blend it all in. So they just hired this new woman to be a day-to-day, and I got this invite through from YouTube via Dior, and I said, I really do need some support here. I can't do this one on my own. They were like, don't worry, we'll send this new employee. It became evident throughout this experience that she didn't know any more than I did about any of this. In fact, it seemed as though she had never been in an event that had this kind of caliber and this kind of pressure, and she really didn't know what to do. So it was the blind leading the blind. And not only that, but I think she thought it was going to be like a holiday. And it turned out to be one of the most stressful trips of my life, because I was also finishing some brand work while I was there. So I was like getting up at all hours of the day and night to fulfill my like content obligations with Dior. Editing Lucy here, I realised that this wasn't very clear when I first said it. Basically, Dior had organised loads of experiences. We also went to the fashion show. We flew to Normandy to the Dior house and museum. So I was like booked and busy basically with all of the Dior experiences, and also naturally expected to make some content around it too. And then I was like working late into the night to edit other things for other brands. And like, to give her the benefit of the doubt, she was very young, and I have also had a job when I was 19 where I was completely out of my depth and I did a really poor job on, and I can now see that now I'm a bit older. So I know it was just naivety and like lack of experience. So this was the first time fashion houses were really working with creators, and it was just so intense, quite disorganized, and that is not the fault of the brands at all or any of the people who we were working with. They were incredibly professional and nice. It was just like so new to them, and they were also doing their whole other job on the side. I'm going to add a bit of this Glossier shadow stick in Riff just to define the outer corners. A very simple kind of smoky eye. So we'd be out late doing the Dior stuff, and then I would have to go back to the hotel room and work. But yeah, I got to meet some incredible talent who were also brought by YouTube. I spent a lot of time with Jackie Einer, and she was unreal, so nice. Her and her husband. Oh, and I was unbelievably out of my depth, and I realized very fast. I'd never had any idea of what this world was like, and it's really high pressure. Everything you're touching is super expensive, and there's kind of language of it. It's like going into a beauty event and knowing nothing about beauty. Credit to that Dior trip, because that got me into and really interested in the fashion world. Yeah, it really sparked my interest in fashion. So clearly it was a really valuable trip for me. Oh yeah, and this lady was smoking when I was wearing the clothes outside the fashion show that were rented, well not rented, borrowed from the brand. Oh my goodness, I've never been more annoyed. It was a whole experience. I'm just going to add some mascara. I just curl my lashes, and then I'm using this Ilia one still. I've had some recommendations, so I'm going to buy a different one soon. This is the fullest volumizing mascara, but it does fall out under my eyes and create shadowing. So if you have deep set eyes like me, maybe it's not the one for you. They sent all the clothes through for me to try. Some creators got a full fitting, but I was the person with by far the fewest followers. So they just sent me some options that I had selected from a lookbook. But nothing fit me because I'm not a sample size. So I wore a big coat. Gosh, what a time. Oh, so I guess we were actually going to see spring summer because it must have been cold when we went. They also sent some loafers, which I really should have worn in hindsight, but I was too afraid of getting blisters. I didn't know how much we'd be walking, but the loafers were insane. It was still Maria Grazia Chiuri. I think it was one of her first collections. Lips are going to be so basic. We're just going for a lip liner. This is, oh my goodness, there's so much Charlotte Tilbury in my day-to-day. I never even realised. This is the Lip Cheat in Pillow Talk 2 Medium. You saw the moment this was recommended to me. It was last year. Emma Warhol was telling me about it when we were at Estee's Butterbrick launch for Mirror Water. She was wearing it. It just looked so good on her. Oh, I also bought something the other day in the art shop. There we go, it's a bit better. I think it's my dream to go to New York Fashion Week. That would probably be my number one. But also I want them to bring back London Fashion Week because there's so many brands that I really want to see. I really would love to see Tove. I'd love to see Stella McCartney. I would love to see Burberry. By the way, I just ever so slightly overlined my lips with this. Here we are, sorry. This is the finished look, as full face as I go for any given day. I think it's time to brave the drive. Guys, I made it. Honestly, it really isn't that far at all from where I live, but getting in the car and driving
gives me the level of adrenaline that riding a roller coaster does for most people. In zones 2 and 3 in London, there's just a lot to look out for. There are pedestrians, electric bikes, and people just walk out in front of the road, and I've been guilty of that as well. But yeah, we're going to go in and do some shopping. I've brought my little carrier bags. I'm ready.
I thought I could vlog while I was in the supermarket, but I didn't really have the capacity. My adrenaline was just through the roof. Wait, I should switch to my actual camera one sec. The drive home was so much easier than the drive back. I think because I'd already done the drive there, it felt like the home stretch. It felt so weird to be stocking a boot of a car in the middle of London. Small girl to big adult. I did a huge shop. I think I spent like 130 quid, which is enormous, but I topped us up on a bunch of stuff. And yeah, I'll just talk you through some of the highlights. I got 2 different sets of drinks. My favourite drinks are now available as a 4-pack. These are strawberry flavour, exceptional. Magnesium, divine. And they used to only be available in Sainsbury's, so this is huge. I would have one now, but I'm not allowed because they put me to sleep. I will be head down, arse up. Is that the phrase? I don't know. So luckily, I bought a second soft drink. I've only ever seen them in corner shops. This particular flavour, you've got to try it. Living Things, watermelon and lime. I'm just showing you the packaged food. I promise I did buy stuff that is not just in a packet. These were on offer, so I bought a couple of packs. The apple and raisin bars. These are really good, but specifically for if you are late for something, which I often am, and you are running out the house and you haven't had the chance to have breakfast. I topped up on a bunch of like pan Asian cooking ingredients, but obviously the main thing is another Shin ramen. You can't go wrong, guys. I bought the decaf tea and the organic Earl Grey from Clipper. These are the best teas, the best, topped up the peanut butter. This is the best one, it doesn't separate. I actually don't like crunchy, but Jack loves it and he eats the majority of the peanut butter, so I will compromise. I found this gangnam kimchi sauce. It looks like it could be fun for topping things. I often make like, I say this very loosely, like a bibimbap bowl, and I'll chuck some of this on the top. Here's the Clippers decaf. I found Jaffa cake bars, so we're gonna give those a go. And then finally for dinner tonight, I think I'm gonna come back late. I've got a commitment this evening, so I'm just going to have this Middle Eastern harissa stew from Bowl. 20 grams of protein for a vegan meal, that's pretty good. And 24 grams of fiber, and 2 of your 5 a day. How could you possibly go wrong? I'll have it with a slice of bread, maybe some rice. Okay, that was the highlights. I feel like because I've stuck my head between my legs a few times, I'm probably very red. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this little video, I make many videos like this. If you subscribe, you will get to see all of them. I also make music. There's a song out, it's called Oxytocin. If you want to listen to that, you are so welcome to. I found out I've been added to a playlist called Moody East Village Cocktail Bar. So if you like music like that, you'll probably like my song. I also have a newsletter and I send out all sorts of fun things, including unreleased demos. I'm so hot. Time for a Jaffa cake bar.